The 90s didn't just bring neon tracksuits and boy bands, they quietly produced some of the most jaw-dropping muscle cars you've never heard of. These 12 underrated 90s youngtimers had serious power, insane style, and totally stole the spotlight, if anyone had been watching. Number 12, 1995 C4 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. Starting with the Chevrolet, the 1995 C4 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 was not just any car. It was the superhero of American sports cars, ready to school every other car on the road. When it hit the street, people could not help but stare. First of all, let's talk power, because this is where the ZR1 truly flexed. Chevrolet threw away the old small block and gave it a 350 cubic inch LT5 V8, built with the help of Lotus engineers. It had all aluminum construction, dual overhead camshafts, and 32 valves. That means it could produce 405 horsepower and 385 pound-feet of torque. To put it simply, this car had the power to make other sports cars sweat. It could zoom from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds and keep going all the way up to 180 miles per hour. If speed was a language, the ZR1 spoke it fluently, and everyone else was still learning the alphabet. Moving on to the corners, because being fast in a straight line is easy, real skill is twisting through turns. Chevrolet gave the ZR1 a stronger suspension, big rear tires, and adjustable ride control that let drivers pick comfort or performance at the push of a button. This car didn't just hug the road. It danced through curves with grace while most muscle cars were still figuring out how to turn. Now, check out how it looked. At first glance, you might think it was a regular Corvette, but the details were tricky little clues. Wider rear end, squared-off taillights, and special ZR1 badges let everyone know this car meant business. Inside, the car kept you in total control with digital gauges, soft leather seats, and a smooth 6-speed manual transmission. Every gear change felt like a secret handshake for car lovers. And here's something that makes this car even cooler. It was rare. Only a few were made, which made owning one feel like being part of a secret club where the password was, "I love speed and precision." People still talk about the ZR1 because it mixed pure American power with smart engineering, showing the world that the USA could take on European supercars and win without breaking a sweat. Number 11, 1993 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Some cars don't just drive, they announce themselves. And the 1993 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am was one of those legends. From the moment it appeared on the road, it demanded attention. Every line, every curve, and every engine note had one goal: thrill the driver and leave the world watching. Let's start with the looks, because first impressions matter. The Trans Am had a low, wide stance that hugged the road, pop-up headlights that made it look ready to strike, and an aggressive front end that refused to blend in. Sculpted sides, a twin nostril hood, and a bold rear spoiler gave it a presence that made other coupes look ordinary. T-tops made it possible to feel the wind while staying protected, mixing coupe style with convertible fun in a way that few cars could pull off. Stepping toward performance, the engine told the story. The base 348 cubic inch V8 produced 275 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque, sending all its power to the rear wheels through a 4-speed automatic. That meant it could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 6 seconds and reach a top speed of 152 miles per hour. For a car of its size, it moved with surprising authority, making straight-line speed just the beginning of its magic. Pontiac added a new layer of excitement with the WS6 performance package in 1996. Ram air induction, a twin scoop hood, and increased output pushed power to 305 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque. Throttle response sharpened, and the exhaust note gained character, giving drivers a car that felt more alive at every press of the pedal. Then came 1998, and the Trans Am hit the next level with the all-aluminum LS1 V8 from the Corvette. Power jumped to 320 horsepower and 345 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 6-speed manual transmission for maximum control. 17-inch polished wheels with sticky Goodyear Eagle F1 tires gave it traction and confidence around corners. Handling became precise, and every turn rewarded drivers with a mix of fun and control that few muscle cars could match. Inside, the Trans Am kept the driver engaged. Supportive leather seats, a thick steering wheel, and intuitive gauges made every drive feel connected. The Monsoon sound system added booming bass, while air conditioning and thoughtful layout kept comfort high. Fold-down rear seats and a wide hatchback meant the car could carry gear without slowing down the excitement. Every detail of the Firebird Trans Am was designed to impress. It combined explosive power, sharp design, and practical thrills in one package. Number 10. 1996 Ford Taurus SHO. The 1996 Ford Taurus SHO looked like a regular family sedan, but under the hood, it hid a secret that made it one of the most exciting performance cars of its time. In fact, this was a car that proved you could have comfort, speed, and style all in one package, without anyone seeing it coming. The first thing that set the SHO apart was its shape. It left behind the sharp corners of past models for smooth curves and rounded edges. Its jelly bean body stood out in a subtle way, and small hints like SHO badging, unique wheels, and a slightly wider stance told the world that it had more power than it looked. People walking by would think, nice car, but drivers knew it had something extra waiting to surprise them. Power was where the magic really lived. The SHO had a 207 cubic inch V8 engine developed with Yamaha, making 235 horsepower and 230 pound-feet of torque. It used a 4-speed automatic transmission and sent power to the front wheels, which was unusual for a performance car at the time. Despite being a 4-door sedan, it could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.7 seconds and reach a top speed of 144 miles per hour. That meant it could outrun plenty of cars that looked much faster. Handling was just as impressive as speed. The SHO had firmer suspension than a normal Taurus, keeping it steady through curves while still giving a smooth ride on the highway. Its lightweight V8 helped balance the car, so it felt lively on its feet. Back roads or long stretches of highway didn't scare it. The SHO stayed confident and precise, giving drivers the perfect mix of control and fun. The interior made every drive special too. Oval-shaped gauges, a flowing dash, and the integrated control panel kept everything intuitive and easy to reach. Bucket seats gave support for spirited driving while still being comfortable for long trips. The flip-fold center console offered smart storage, proving this car could handle everyday life without losing its sporty edge. From fine styling to powerful acceleration, this sedan showed the world that a 4-door could be legendary. Number 9. 1995 Chevrolet Monte Carlo Z34. The 1995 Chevrolet Monte Carlo ZR1 was one of the cars that don't follow the rules. This car showed that being different could make you legendary. While most coupes in the mid-90s clung to old ways, the Z34 mixed style, speed, and brains in a way that made it unforgettable. People saw it on the street and knew right away that it was something special. Let's start with the engine, because that is where the magic happens. The Monte Carlo Z34 had a 207 cubic inch V6 engine that made 215 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission, it sent all that power to the front wheels. This car could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 8.1 seconds and reach a top speed of 144 miles per hour. That might not sound like a supercar, but for a front-wheel drive coupe from the 90s, it moved like it had a secret turbo hidden somewhere. Performance isn't only about speed in a straight line, and the Z34 knew that very well. Its sport-tuned suspension gave it balance and poise through turns, while anti-lock brakes provided control that made stopping smooth and reliable. Front-wheel drive sometimes meant torque steer under heavy acceleration, but that was part of the fun. It reminded drivers that the car had personality and wanted to play. Around corners, the Monte Carlo stayed planted, giving confidence to push a little harder without losing control. Then there is the way it looked, which was impossible to ignore. The car's curves and aerodynamic shape gave it presence on the road that made other cars look ordinary. Signature Z34 badges added a touch of attitude, and while it borrowed some design cues from the Chevrolet Lumina, it had more energy and style than anything else in its class. Drivers could feel the sporty vibe even before touching the pedals. The cabin also made driving fun and practical. A wraparound dashboard gave a cockpit-like feel, while the floor-mounted shifter, clear gauges, and intuitive controls turned every drive into an event. Features like air conditioning, power windows, keyless entry, and a theft deterrent system were standard, showing that the Monte Carlo Z34 was clever, not just fast. Every detail worked together to make driving smooth, exciting, and completely different from any other coupe on the street. Number 8. 1994 Ford Mustang GT Coupe. The 1994 Ford Mustang GT Coupe arrived like a thunderbolt that refused to whisper. This Mustang was not just a car, it was a statement. It carried the muscle car spirit into the 90s while giving fans a fresh face to admire. Built on an updated version of the Fox platform, it had stronger bones, sharper handling, and an attitude that made other cars look nervous. The design brought back the Mustang's classic cues, but added modern flair, making it instantly recognizable while feeling brand new. Right under the hood, the GT packed a 305 cubic inch V8 engine. It made 215 horsepower and 285 pound-feet of torque. These numbers might sound ordinary today, but the magic was in how the engine delivered power. Low-end torque meant that every press of the gas pedal pushed you forward immediately. There was no waiting, no whining, just instant acceleration that made you grin. Paired with either a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic transmission, this Mustang could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just under 7 seconds. Top speed reached 136 miles per hour, proving it could handle both traffic lights and open roads with confidence. Performance did not stop at the engine. Ford upgraded the chassis to give the Mustang GT better road grip without losing the raw, fun-to-drive feel. 16-inch wheels, larger brakes, and a 3.08 rear axle ratio worked together to keep the car stable and responsive. Cornering felt tight, acceleration felt smooth, and even braking delivered authority. Drivers had a car that could carve through curves or fly down straightaways, all while keeping its classic Mustang charm. The Mustang's appearance was a clever mix of old and new. The soft lines of earlier Mustangs gave way to a more aggressive body style. Retro touches reminded people of the Mustangs of the past, while modern design cues made it feel relevant. The notchback and hatchback were replaced with a coupe that looked confident at every angle. The GT's stance, hood lines, and sculpted fenders told everyone this was a car that deserved attention. The design worked so well that it helped the Mustang win Motor Trend's Car of the Year award in 1994, reinforcing that looks and performance can work together perfectly. Ford almost made a bold move that could have changed everything. There were plans to make a front-wheel drive Mustang, but fan outrage stopped it. The Mustang kept its rear-wheel drive layout, which meant it kept its true muscle car character. This decision allowed over 1.5 million Mustangs to be sold during this generation, keeping the name alive and respected. Even within the engine lineup, the Mustang offered variety. Base models had a 232 cubic inch V6, while GTs and Cobra models gave drivers stronger V8s with updated modular engines, dual overhead cams, and refined intake systems. Special Cobra R versions appeared as track-ready legends, with engines rated at 385 horsepower and torquey enough to make them fly through the quarter mile in low to mid-13 seconds. Everything about the 1994 Mustang GT Coupe made it a car that carried history forward while thrilling anyone behind the wheel. Number 7, 1991, Ford Thunderbird. The 1991 Ford Thunderbird was a car that made people look twice on the street. This wasn't a wild muscle car trying to shout over everyone else. It was a cool, confident cruiser that combined power and comfort in a way that made it stand out. With smooth curves, balanced proportions, and a presence that made other cars feel plain, the Thunderbird had a style all its own. Starting with what's under the hood, the Thunderbird offered a choice that mattered. The 305 cubic inch V8 engine returned for this model year, paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission called AOD. This V8 made 200 horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute and 275 pound-feet of torque at 3,000 revolutions per minute. That extra power meant it could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 9.2 seconds. Compared to the 232 cubic inch V6, the V8 shaved roughly 2 seconds off acceleration, giving the car a punch that felt lively but never too frantic for daily driving. Well, performance was not just about the engine. The Thunderbird had a 4-wheel independent suspension, which was rare for rear-wheel drive American cars at the time. This setup made the ride feel smooth and controlled, even when the road tried to surprise you with bumps or curves. Unlike some muscle cars that bounced and wobbled, the Thunderbird stayed composed, letting drivers enjoy the thrill of speed without needing to hang on for dear life. It was like having a polite muscle car that knew how to behave at a dinner party. The shape of the Thunderbird told a story before it even moved. Shorter than the previous generation, but riding on a longer wheelbase, it had a presence that was confident without needing to scream. The nose was low and pointed, the roofline flowed gracefully, and the proportions made it look ready to glide down the highway. Aerodynamic design wasn't just for looks. It helped the car feel stable at higher speeds and added a touch of elegance to its muscle. Speaking of interior, the Thunderbird treated passengers like royalty. Leather seats offered comfort for long drives, power windows and locks made life easier, and the cabin was spacious enough to let you stretch without feeling cramped. Unlike some performance cars that forced you into tight racing seats, the Thunderbird let you relax while still feeling connected to the road. It was a perfect blend of fun and sophistication, giving drivers a car they could enjoy every day. NASCAR connections and careful engineering gave the Thunderbird credibility. It wasn't the fastest car in the neighborhood, but it handled like a pro, cruised like a luxury car, and still delivered excitement in a way that most sedans could never dream of. Number 6. 1995 Buick Riviera Supercharged. When the 1995 Buick Riviera Supercharged rolled onto streets, it made sure everyone noticed without saying a word. This was not a car that needed gimmicks. It spoke through its engine. Set a 232 cubic inch V6 with a supercharger strapped on. That meant it produced 225 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. Every push of the gas pedal was like telling traffic, "Watch out, here I come." And yes, it made you feel like the star of your own parade. The way that motor delivered its power was special. Instead of making you wait until the engine reached crazy speeds, the supercharger built boost right from low revs. That gave the Riviera a shove that felt almost unfair compared to normal V6 cars of the era. Imagine bringing a water balloon to a fight and secretly holding a fire hose at the same time. That is how thrilling this acceleration felt. Smoothness and punch blended perfectly, and suddenly even a short city drive became an adventure with a grin attached. Pairing the engine with the 4-speed automatic transmission was another clever move. Many might think an automatic would dull the excitement, but the Riviera shifted gears so smoothly that it almost seemed like it could read your mood. Accelerating onto a highway, it dropped down a gear eagerly. Cruising casually, it stayed calm and refined. That harmony of power and control gave the car personality most others lacked in the mid-90s. Performance numbers back up all this excitement. The Riviera could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.2 seconds and cover a quarter mile in 15.6 seconds at 90 miles per hour. For a front-wheel drive luxury coupe of its size, those figures were impressive. And they put this Buick in a class with cars boasting much bigger engines and fancier badges. Yet it stayed confident without needing to shout about it, letting dual exhausts whisper just the right amount of attitude. The design of the Riviera added to its legend. Its body was full of curves, with both ends tapered elegantly. From the side, the greenhouse pushed forward slightly, giving it a touch of cab-forward styling, while the trunk swooped downward just enough to meet the full-width taillight assembly. Minimal brightwork and a neat rub strip kept the car refined but unmistakable. Its long, flowing lines held visual surprises that slowly revealed themselves, keeping eyes glued longer than expected. Step inside and the intelligence continues. The dashboard was simple yet purposeful, with large white-on-black round gauges, air vents, and warning clusters. Controls were easy to reach, and plush materials cushioned elbows and knees. The seats were shaped after careful research to prevent discomfort, making even long drives comfortable. Back seat space accommodated adults comfortably, while the trunk offered 17 cubic feet for extra utility. On top of that, suspension and handling sealed the deal. Struts up front and semi-trailing arms with tow control links in the rear provided a smooth ride over cracked roads while staying composed during aggressive driving. With all that power going to the front wheels, the Riviera never felt twitchy or nervous. Steering effort increased naturally with speed, giving a reassuring sense of control without ever tiring the driver. Every piece of the 1995 Buick Riviera Supercharged worked together to make a car that was fast, smooth, and full of character. Number 5. 1996 Chevrolet Impala SS. Some cars don't need to shout to be noticed, and the 1996 Chevrolet Impala SS proved that style and power can quietly take over the streets. While other cars from the mid-90s tried too hard with bright colors and flashy stripes, this sedan walked in like a boss and made everyone take notice. People didn't need to be told it was special, they just felt it. Let's start with how it looked, because first impressions count. The Impala SS came only in black, which gave it a serious, no-nonsense attitude. Lowered stance, smoked taillights, and a monochrome grille made it look ready for action without screaming. The classic Impala emblem stood proud where other badging might be, giving a sense that this car had its own rules. You could park it anywhere, and it would quietly steal attention without begging for it. Next, the cabin was where comfort met muscle. Wide leather seats with SS embossing made it feel important, and the center console with a floor shifter put all the control right at the driver's fingertips. The dashboard was clean, functional, and easy to read, making sure drivers could focus on enjoying every drive. This was not a car that tried to dazzle. It let its performance speak. Performance is where the Impala SS really showed its magic. Under the hood, it hit a Corvette-sourced 348 cubic inch V8 engine. That LT1 V8 made 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a 4-speed automatic, power flowed to the rear wheels smoothly. Despite being a full-size sedan, it could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 7.4 seconds and reach a top speed of 154 miles per hour. That meant it could outrun almost anything on the road without breaking a sweat. Handling was no joke either. Chevrolet borrowed from the Caprice police package, giving the SS a sport-tuned suspension, thicker sway bars, reinforced shocks, and upgraded cooling. The result was a car that felt confident and composed no matter the road. Cornering didn't make it nervous, it made it feel alive. It wasn't a tiny coupe, but it drove smaller than it looked, like a stealthy ninja disguised as a sedan. Finally, rarity added to its legend. Only 69,768 units were made across 3 years. That made each Impala SS feel exclusive and extra special. Number 4. 1996 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am WS6. The 1996 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am WS6 was a car that wanted attention without asking politely. Under its bold hood, it packed a 350 cubic inch small block V8 engine. But here's where it got exciting. Pontiac tuned it so that instead of the base car's 285 horsepower, the WS6 pumped out 105 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque. Every tap of the gas pedal felt like a double shot espresso for your senses, and yes, it made your grin stretch wider than a freeway lane. What made the WS6 even more fun was how that torque arrived. Just above 3,000 revolutions per minute, the car was already ready to leap forward. You didn't need to wait for the engine to scream. It was prepared before you even knew you were ready. It was like having a muscle-bound friend who steps in before trouble starts. And trust me, this car took you along for every thrilling push. The Trans Am WS6 didn't stop at engine power. Pontiac added a ram air hood that shoved cooler air directly into the engine. Think of it like feeding an athlete pure oxygen before a sprint. More air meant more energy, more sound, and a whole lot more bragging rights. You could pair it with either the Tremec T56 6-speed manual transmission, made for people who love to row their own gears, the GM4 L60E 4-speed automatic for those who just wanted to stomp and go. Either way, the car delivered excitement with every touch. Now, this muscle car knew that power without control is chaos. Pontiac upgraded the suspension, added stiffer components, and gave it wider tires. The WS6 carved corners like it had a personal GPS for precision. Keeping the ride thrilling yet confident, that famous badge on the back was not just decoration. It told the world that this was a car that could handle whatever the road threw at it. By the late 90s, the Trans Am WS6 leveled up again with the LS1 engine, pushing 320 horsepower and 345 pound-feet of torque. The LS6 intake boosted it to 325 horsepower and 350 pound-feet, running shoulder to shoulder with cars people called exotic. The WS6 was no longer just a fast car. It was a competitor in the league of extraordinary machines. Spotting a real WS6 is easy for the observant. Check the driver's side door tag for a WS6 code or the tire inflation label for the special 275/40 ZR17 tires. There's also the Ram Air decal on the hood and the WS6 badge on the rear. With these clues, you can separate the true Trans Am warriors from the imposters in the parking lot. Number 3. 1993 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The 1993 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 made it clear that American muscle was alive and kicking. With a heart borrowed from the Corvette, it was ready to prove that raw power and everyday usability could live together in one machine. Power came from the LT1, a 350 cubic inch V8 engine. It produced 275 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque, delivering strength that felt endless. The low-end torque pulled like a freight train leaving the station, while the cruising power kept the smile on your face long after the speedometer passed what most cars could even dream of. Every press of the pedal reminded you that this Camaro was serious about performance. Chevrolet paired the engine with a 6-speed manual transmission called the T56. Every gear shift felt precise, making the driver feel like a hero, even on a simple trip to the grocery store. The engine and transmission worked perfectly together, pulling hard from low speeds and continuing to push through every gear. It was a combination so balanced that even a novice driver could experience the thrill without breaking a sweat. Acceleration numbers were just as impressive as the feel. From 0 to 60 miles per hour, it reached the mark in the mid-5-second range. In the quarter mile, the Camaro could dip into the 13-second range straight from the showroom floor. While those figures were already strong, the real magic was how easy it was to unleash that power. The Camaro always felt eager, inviting the driver to explore its potential with every push of the throttle. Handling was treated with the same care as power. Wide 245-section tires on 16-inch wheels offered a planted stance. 4-wheel disc brakes delivered stopping power with authority, and a limited slip differential made sure all that torque turned into motion instead of wasted tire spin. Of course, if smoke was part of the plan, the Z28 was happy to oblige, making every drive entertaining. Fuel efficiency might surprise some people. Despite its muscle car performance, smart gearing and an aerodynamic shape allowed the Camaro to cruise efficiently on the highway. It could tackle long trips without constant fuel stops, showing that power didn't have to come at the cost of common sense. From engine to tires, from gears to handling, this Camaro proved that muscle cars could be exciting, practical, and just plain fun, all in one iconic package. Number 2, 1991 Buick Reatta. When the 1991 Buick Reatta appeared on the streets, it turned heads for reasons no one expected. It wasn't a muscle car in the traditional sense, but it had a special kind of charm that made it legendary. This 2-door, 2-seater coupe offered performance, style, and innovation in a package that felt both modern and classy, a car that made drivers feel unique every time they pressed the pedal. The Reatta's shape stood out immediately. Rounded lines, a wedge-style front, and a distinctive bubble-back rear windshield gave it an elegance few cars of its era had. Pop-up headlights added flair without being flashy, and the short, careful proportions made it look purposeful. Unlike heavier, more aggressive cars, it had a quiet confidence that invited curiosity. From curb to corner, it was a car that demanded attention without needing to shout. Underneath its refined exterior, the Reatta packed solid performance. Its 232 cubic inch V6 engine produced 170 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9.3 seconds and cover a quarter mile in 17.4 seconds. Top speed reached 125 miles per hour. While it wasn't a drag strip monster, it had enough punch to make city streets and highways more exciting than expected for a personal luxury coupe. Technology also played a starring role. The Reatta featured 4-wheel independent suspension and 4-wheel disc brakes with ABS, giving it smooth handling and reliable stopping power. Its dashboard was futuristic for the time, with digital CRT gauges and a touchscreen center console that controlled climate, entertainment, and diagnostic functions. Drivers experienced a car that felt ahead of its era, blending luxury and tech in a way that made every drive memorable. The interior balanced comfort and sportiness perfectly. Seats were wide and supportive, giving plenty of room for 2 passengers, while the leather-bound owner's manual emphasized the attention to detail and care in each Reatta. The cockpit offered a relaxed but engaging experience, making long drives feel effortless and short trips feel thrilling. Every element was designed to feel special, proving Buick could innovate beyond traditional sedans. The Reatta may have been rare, with production lasting only 3 years, but it still made a lasting impact. Its design, performance, and technological features earned it a spot among the most interesting American cars of the 90s. It showed that speed, style, and sophistication could coexist in a small, focused package. Drivers who discovered it found something more than a car. They found an experience that combined fun and comfort. Number 1. 1997 Mercury Cougar. The 1997 Mercury Cougar was one of those rare machines that had a quiet power, making everyone notice. While other coupes from the 90s were busy showing off, this car moved with confidence, blending muscle, comfort, and handling in a way that made it legendary. People driving it didn't need to prove anything. The car did the talking. First, the look gave it instant street presence. The LS trim had chrome window accents that shimmered in the sun, while the XR7 trim brought a darker, stealthy style that said business without yelling. Long hood, smooth lines, and a wide stance gave it an attitude that made other cars feel plain. It didn't scream muscle, but it whispered confidence loud enough for anyone paying attention. Under the hood, the Cougar's secret was waiting to be unleashed. A 281 cubic inch V8 engine made 205 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. Mated to a 4-speed automatic transmission, it could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.5 seconds and cruise all the way up to 110 miles per hour. Not built to drag race, it was made to cover ground fast, smooth, and stylishly. Even seasoned drivers would smile at how effortlessly it moved. The cabin turned every drive into a mix of comfort and control. XR7 trims had sporty bucket seats, a 2-spoke steering wheel, and crisp analog gauges that made reading speed and RPMs easy. Everything was driver-focused and clean, yet elegant enough to feel like a luxury car. With tech like 4-wheel anti-lock disc brakes, 16-inch alloy wheels, and electronically adjustable suspension, the Cougar had brains to match its brawn. It was practical, smart, and fun all at once. What truly made the Cougar legendary was how it handled the road. Most American rear-wheel drive coupes back then still used live axles, but this one had 4-wheel independent suspension. That meant it glided over streets, hugged curves, and felt like a European Grand Tourer without needing to cross an ocean. On winding roads, it stayed planted. On highways, it ate miles effortlessly. From its smooth style to confident performance, the Mercury Cougar mixed elegance with muscle in a way few cars dared to. It was bold, refined, and ready for anything, making it a standout among 90s coupes that wanted attention but couldn't match its balance. If you love these 90s legends, drop a comment with your favorite, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic car stories.